Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. You all remember Senator Chris Van Hollen of Kilmer Abrego Garcia fame? That's right, he's mostly forgettable, except for the fact that he was caught having Mai Tais or margaritas, whatever it is, with a known terrorist. That's right, wife beater, human trafficker, all of that. And Senator Chris Van Hollen is about to get ended by Marco Rubio in the United States Senate. Check this out.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job.
Total truth nuke. Awesome statement by Marco Rubio, because I want to ask you this question. If you were the Secretary of State of the United States of America and you were tasked with dealing with foreign leaders, right? The foreign policy concerns of the United States of America as Secretary of State, would you want the approval of Senator Chris Van Hollen, who went to a nation that President Trump had already negotiated a deal with to house these illegal alien gang members? Would you want the approval of Senator Chris Van Hollen, who went down there and subverted the will of the United States of America, who is begging to get back a known terrorist? Folks, this is just insane. Senator Chris Van Hollen is the last person anybody who's on the right side of history would want the support of. And speaking of support, folks, go get yourself a MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack, or call the 1-800 number, 800-568-2865 to get the best deal on the best sleep products available.
Based on what I know.
Well, that's just a flippant statement, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask
Senator,
questions.
please let the Secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his
Your
response.
time's up, Senator, and woefully used, I might add.
Senator, your time is up. And woefully used, I might add. That's right. He cannot deal with the fact that he does not have the ability to respond to the truth nukes that Rubio is dropping.
Well,
Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation.
I
don't regret
Sudan,
psychosocial support services.
I raised
USAID.
Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr.
Senator,
Chairman, or do I?
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose to
railing on-
use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use my
suspend,
time that way.
Senator.
What a crybaby. I'm surprised he didn't say, reclaiming my time. He has no time to reclaim. He used all 7 minutes of his time, and now he wants to filibuster Marco Rubio when he's dropping truth nukes, because the Democrats cannot, and some of these Republicans too, cannot stand the truth of the USAID grift being exposed.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary
No.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the
Senator,
United States because
well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I am under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation under our division of powers in this country and to share with the judicial branch how I conducted diplomacy of the United States.
This is so awesome. So Senator Chris Van Hollen, a sitting United States senator, is now getting schooled on the basic fundamentals of government and the separation of powers. Now, the Democrats always want to talk about the separation of powers, but they don't want to talk about the separation of powers as it relates to the abuse of power by the judicial branch, which has been occurring lately. There is no doubt about it. Folks, there was no injunctive relief for all the illegal aliens pouring across the border, and there were plenty of cases filed. But all of a sudden, we can file temporary restraining orders on the administrations that's simply trying to send the people back to where they belong. It is absolutely wild how run amok and run afoul the judiciary is, and how the Democrats are cheering that on and talking about separation of powers that they don't actually believe in, because they don't believe that the executive branch is vested with the power that it is vested with in Article 2 of our Constitution, which states that all executive power will be vested in a president.
It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way.
Not only does diplomacy not work that way, folks, our government doesn't work that way. The court cannot demand that information from Marco Rubio because that ability is, again, vested in the executive branch of the United States government, in President Trump and his administration. I know the liberals don't want to hear that, but that's the truth.
About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas. And it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ostork did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she did? Come on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single one of these cases, the factors are different.
Senator,
the bottom line is, if you're coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you have a visa,
First Amendment apply to
we'll
people
revoke
living in the United States?
And we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a bunch of lunatics who are here on student visas.
Disrupting the foreign policy of the United States.
I want to do more. I hope we can find more of these people.
That's pathetic, Mr.
In fact,
Secretary.
the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke it.
I feel so much safer when you lock up people like Ms. Ostork, Ms. Secretary.
We've had enough time on the subject. Thank you very much. And we're going to move to Senator Lee.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is 100% right on this, and Senator Chris Van Hollen is 100% wrong. The fact of the matter is, coming to the United States on a student visa to study at our universities, most of them getting taxpayer funds, mind you, is a privilege. It is not a right. Nobody has the right to come here and then wave their foreign flags, as we've seen on all these campuses, to wave the flag of Hamas, other terrorists and whatnot, Jewish students hiding out in different areas, fearing for their lives, barricaded in rooms, as police have to deal with these agitators. Okay, we don't need them in our country. We don't need them riling up hate against American citizens, Jews, and the United States of America. That's not what they're here to do. They're here to study at our universities. And right now, the liberal media is running around telling us all how this is so bad and it's so bad for American companies and so on. And Senator Chris Van Hollen is jumping on that train. But let me remind you, it was Senator Chris Van Hollen who would not sign the Lake and Riley Act, but was running on a plane down to El Salvador to fight for known MS-13 gang members. We never saw him fight that hard for Americans, but he's willing to do that for undocumented immigrants. Undocumented illegal immigrants, let me mind you. Undocumented illegal aliens would be the better way of putting it. He's absolutely pathetic, and Marco Rubio just destroyed him, and I'm here for it, and I love it. Remember, go check out those sheets, mypillow.com/lumberjack49.98 right now for Giza sheets. They are the best sheets you will ever own. There is no going back once you try Giza sheets. They are the best sheets. They're just awesome. Anyways, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.